Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 52 of Nicola Valley Talk, a podcast provided by Tourism Nicola Valley, Experience Nicola Valley, and Experience Merritt. Nicola Valley Talk is broadcasted live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time from Merritt, British Columbia, Canada. Nicola Valley Talk is part of the 2021 National and Provincial Award-winning Experience Nicola Valley program for best marketing program of the year and best community project awarded for communities under 20,000 people. My name is Tanya Stewart, and I am your eco-blogger with Experience Nicola Valley Talk, and your host tonight on Nicola Valley Talk. So tonight, I'm really excited about our guest. I was fortunate to meet him many years ago, and he has grown up. Wow. And this is Amrit Ahuja. And if I said it wrong, I'm sorry. I'm like a little tongue-tied.
That's
so
all right.
Welcome to the show, Amrit.
Hey, how's it going? How you doing?
Very good. It's hot. I got my summer hat on.
Yeah, I love it. I got my hat on.
Yeah.
I'm always wearing a hat. So.
Yeah. It's easy, eh? You don't have to do your hair. So, Amrit,
Exactly.
I welcome you to the show, and I'm very excited about this because I remember, like I said, I met you years ago, and you were younger then, and just getting into what we're going to talk about. So, please, for people that don't know you, Amrit, please share with our audience a little about who Amrit is.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a locally based artist in Merritt, BC. I was born and raised here. I've been pursuing art for quite a long time. I would say about 10 years now. Basically, right after high school, I decided that creative field was kind of right for me. And ever since that, I've been pursuing art. And yeah, that's kind of my field and what I specialize in. So.
Okay. We're having a little bit of technical problems on my end anyways, but
Okay.
just keep on talking, Amrit. Okay.
Mhm.
So for just under 10 years now, you have been building a career in the CGO, which stands for digital arts field. However, before that, you were into dance and music production. My question
Mhm.
is two parts here. What
Okay.
is CGI? Digital arts, and what made you go from dance to CGI digital artist?
Yeah, so CGI is computer generated imagery. Basically, we use specialized software to generate graphics. And the difference between 3D and 2D is that you have a perception of depth. So you have an extra dimension that you can see as compared to 2D graphics where you can only see a flat image, right? So when we're in these softwares, we can actually see different angles of the objects we're dealing with. So that's essentially what CGI is. And I think the reason why I switched from dance to CGI is I actually, in between that, was the process of being interested in music. So when I was performing at festivals, I actually caught the eye of quite a few DJs, and this led me on to picking up DJing as a skill and going to school for audio engineering. And with that kind of came with dealing with other musicians. So when I was dealing with other musicians, I realized that I found that I was directing them often in terms of visual art as well. And because of that, I kind of realized that maybe visual arts was a passion for me as well. And I just naturally dove into that. I didn't really force it, or I didn't really think I would actually be a visual artist. It was kind of a focus for me to be an audio engineer, and naturally just transitioned into being a visual artist. And that's been my journey so far, and I'm excited to be on that path.
And I'm sure your journey is going to change, have little corners here and there, and change as you go along, right? And as technology
Hmm.
changes, also, I would assume. So,
Exactly.
you have produced. Yes, you have produced work for Kane Brown, Skepta. Did I say that right? Skepta, and major
Yep.
rappers like Travis Scott. Okay. However, a big moment for you was working with Nike, right? And can you tell us? I mean, that's
Hmm.
amazing. And can you tell us why that projects and resonate so much with you?
Yeah, I would say Nike really was a standard for me to be considered a professional. And obviously, I think for a lot of designers that can vary. I don't think it's really the standard, but Nike being such a large brand and working with only professional artists, for me to have that opportunity was really a defining moment for me to put a bar for me to say that I am a professional working artist in this area. So I think it was a great goal to achieve. And I actually set that goal early on in my career. I never thought that I would reach that goal so early though. And to have that, I think that was the biggest highlight of my career so far. And I think that that's why it resonates with me so well.
Oh, that is awesome. And I have to say you're very talented and you're also personable, right? I mean, you're very
Thank you. Yeah.
you come across very well, like you're so yeah. And you're not
Thank
like
you.
a lot of people tend to be, they tend to be. And your hometown success story too, because your down roots are little town Amrit in BC, Canada, right? So now you are dabbling in the trend in marketing called NFTs. We see them in basketball, hockey, musicians, and art. So what is NFT and how are you testing that market?
Yeah, so an NFT, they're very complicated to explain just because it's such a new industry that kind of popped out of nowhere. Actually, it stands for non-fungible token, but NFTs are digital assets that are ingrained in data that create one-offs of these digital assets. So if you think about it in a simplified term, I would say, for example, the Mona Lisa has a certificate that proves that the Mona Lisa is the actual legitimate Mona Lisa. Anybody could replicate it, but that certificate determines that it is indeed the Mona Lisa. So in NFTs, when you create a digital asset, say digital art, like I create, that digital art receives a certificate of authenticity that makes that piece of art a one of one piece. And because of that, that increases the value of that art. And due to these high values, you're seeing digital hockey cards being traded, like you mentioned, and digital art, and even things like contracts and properties are being traded. And basically, these certificates are actually digitally ingrained into what's called a blockchain. And so this certificate cannot be removed. It is ingrained there permanently. So that's what is making it one of one, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the simplified version of what an NFT is. We use cryptocurrencies to purchase these. It varies in which kinds of cryptocurrencies, but for the most part, a lot of people have been using Ethereum, which is a pretty popular cryptocurrency, kind of second to Bitcoin, I believe. So that's what we've been using. And there are various marketplaces such as Rarible and Nifty Gateway and Foundation and such. Some are invite only and some are publicly open. So it kind of varies on what artists are invited, or if you're kind of a lower grade artist, then you can use these public domains and get yourself out there first. So that's pretty much the gist of what an NFT is.
So Amrit, I'm like, thank God it was the basic because I'm like, what? So I know about crypto coins. I'm like, so crypto coins. Okay, so you're using them to buy these NFLs or is it NFTs, right? So I know that there has been problems with bitcoins and mining and all that, and people stealing them from other people.
Yeah.
Can people steal that from, can that happen too?
Could a person steal an NFT? Yeah, I think not necessarily, because that data is ingrained into who's purchased it. So your information is on there as well. So they can't essentially steal that. I mean, a lot of people who are misinformed in the community always question, they always bring up, why can't we just technically just right click and save the video or whatever the asset is? But like I mentioned, you have the certificate that really authorizes it.
Okay.
So you can't essentially steal it, I don't think. There is lots of controversy in cryptocurrency in general,
Okay.
but I think this is a great
Yeah.
moment for artists in the industry because we don't have to rely
Mhm.
on clients anymore. We can use our personal works and make a career just off our personal work. And I think that's very gratifying because as an artist, you really thrive off your own personal works as opposed to doing client works.
Yeah.
And client works is great. I enjoy doing client work, but there's times where you don't
Mhm.
have the freedom of creativity where you have somebody else directing you and maybe you don't want to be doing what they're directing you to do. So I think having that creative freedom in an industry where you now have the opportunity to build a career, I think that's really important. And I think NFTs are kind of here to stay and progress in the near future. So I think it's a great opportunity for artists, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Mhm. That is awesome. So with an NFT and stuff like that. So if I were to ask you, because we were talking earlier about my son and his book, and if I wanted some kind of digital to go along with his, because I did make a wolf picture, and I see it running and or something, but I wouldn't know what to do. So if you were to make
Mhm.
that, would that be an NFT, or is that a client based, or
Yeah,
if I gave you full reign on what you do, it would be yours, but how would that work?
yeah. So
As
I guess essentially what a lot of people are doing is a similar process to that. It would be kind of
Mhm.
client based in a way where often you're actually seeing a lot of musicians hiring designers to create NFTs for them. And what they do is they
Okay.
include their music along with the visual of the designer. And together they
Mhm.
do a 50% collaboration and upload the NFT together. So when the NFT sells, they split the profit because it's kind of a 50% effort together, right? So,
Okay.
mhm.
Yeah. That is really interesting, Amrit. And I'm like, wow. I mean, there's a whole field out there for people who, that would like to get into this. And could you tell me, so how would a person, say my son, my younger son, who is digitally wired all the time and can do things that I can't even imagine, I can't even think of doing. How would they go about going into something what you're doing? Where would they start?
Yeah, definitely. I think it really depends on the area he'd want to go into, but I personally have been a huge DIY person. I think we have so many
Mhm.
resources available right at our fingertips. And like you mentioned, he's a very digitally wired person. So I think he wouldn't have difficulty finding the right resources to learn and how to get involved with these things. So usually I start with simply just Googling things. And I think even with my career, a lot of it has just been watching YouTube tutorials on specific things. And I think the biggest thing is knowing what direction you want to go so you can search the correct things that you want to be learning, right? Because there is so many resources out there that you tend to get lost in the sea of information. I think it's really important to have
Mhm.
that direction so you know the specific things you want to search for. So yeah, my advice would be just kind of find the path you want to go and use the resources that we have.
That is so cool. So there must be like Amaret that you could open up a field of your own YouTube, self-help, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Have you ever thought of
yeah.
doing that?
I've thought about it.
So that would be great.
I've had some people recommend, even in general, just for my art, to be active on YouTube, which is something I definitely need to do. I just think so much of my focus has been on Instagram, and I'm sure a lot of people, even like someone such as Greg, probably knows the difficulty of focusing on
Mhm.
multiple social media platforms. It just requires so much energy to be constantly posting, and so I think that's definitely something I need to learn how to put my energy towards, and I eventually will be on YouTube. So yeah, I think eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Didn't
you.
you have some? You could have it. You know how they pictures and stuff on night on buildings, digital pictures and stuff like that.
Oh, like billboards?
Yeah, billboards. Yeah, digital billboards. have you looked into any of that, or has anything come along like that for you?
As in posting my work, I think there was the Nike opportunity we did
Yeah.
have with Skepta
Okay.
there. I basically created CGI butterflies and we photoshopped them onto
Oh,
an image of Skepta, and that image was projected on, I believe it's called Tottenham Spurs Stadium. Someone can correct me
yeah.
if I'm wrong, but it's located in England, and it was a great opportunity. It was so cool to see that being posted up there, and that was the first time that I've ever had my work on public display on such a large display. So yeah, that was really cool.
No kid. Yeah, we read somewhere that 100% of your clients have come through Instagram. How
Mhm.
powerful of a medium is social media, and why should local artists and all businesses take social media more serious? I know we touched base, but dive deeper into it and explain that.
Yeah, I think social media is huge right now because it's a way to reach outside of your local platform. And especially for someone like me, CGI work locally is just not a feasible thing because it's just not really known here. There's not very many opportunities and use case for it. So having social media really helped me branch out to different locations that I would have never even thought possible. Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned, was having that extra reach was so important because being locally based in a small town, it can be difficult to pursue certain careers because these careers such as CGI requires a specific type of client, right? So having social media really helped me branch out towards different areas like England, like Los Angeles, just generally around the world essentially, and without platforms like Instagram, I don't think that would be possible for me. So social media is
Mhm.
really important for businesses. It's a way to get yourself out there and get yourself out of the public domain and have clients be attracted to you from outside of your local area, right? So that's very important. I think it's almost essential nowadays to have a social media presence.
And you know, Amaret, and that's so amazing because I'm a introvert, an extrovert in ways, but an introvert that I like being at home. And I know so many people, and I never have to leave my house to talk to them, right? And
Yeah.
that's how, and through COVID, did you stop working?
Yeah, so this is actually I just started doing this at the start of COVID, just before COVID hit, and it actually became a full-time job for me right as soon as COVID hit. So I was pretty much working
Yeah.
as COVID was here, and for me actually, because of COVID, a lot of people were coming to me for work due to the fact that there were no longer any video teams that were operating or advertising teams that were operating. So it was easier to reach out to someone like me who could create something digitally as opposed to having a crew come together and having to follow all sorts of procedures and being very precautious. So I think for me, essentially, COVID actually brought a lot more business, surprisingly. Obviously, COVID was not a great thing. So
No.
I say that kind of in not like a positive way, but I guess it's just kind of the fact that it did bring a little bit more
Mhm.
business in terms of that.
Well, with you, it didn't stop you from pursuing what you wanted to do, right? So, whereas
Mhm.
I know a lot of businesses just went, "Hey, it's COVID. What are we going to get done?" And they stopped. Whereas people like
Exactly. Yeah.
you and many innovators have come out of COVID, and
Thank you.
we need that. And that's what's going to lead to even better innovations through social media. And I bravo to you. Um,
Thank you.
so, Amrit, I want to do some shout outs from some people.
Okay.
Um, from Yano, your biggest fan, Yano here. She says, "Hey, it's our favorite Amrit." And she said, "You be good at sharing your skills." And she also
Hey, that's
says,
awesome.
"Amrit's reach is global." Okay. And
Oh,
also,
thank you.
Greg Gerard, yeah, he said, "Home based success story, that Amrit."
Yeah. Thank you, Greg.
Um, Yeah, and there was another one that said, "Oh, such talent he has." So, how, and go to our lead in, so how important are programs like this, what we're doing here in the Nicola Valley, up on the international stage? Because you were born and raised in Merritt, BC, Canada. You've seen many changes through your time and you're growing up. And a few months
Mhm.
ago, the Experience Nicola Valley program won a national and provincial award for best community marketing program. I
Mhm.
know I did it backwards.
That's all
And so
right.
I'll go back to the question now. How
That's okay.
important are programs like this that put Nicola Valley up on the international level?
I think it's very important because you're essentially highlighting artists and small business owners and enthusiasts of being like bloggers and such like that. I think it's very important to highlight those because these people tend to go under the radar in small communities. So I think having that, it really helps bring that to the forefront and show what opportunities are available in the community. So having that, I think it is very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to express ourselves and be known to the community.